Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
Welcome back to Tree Talking Time. I'm here with a very special guest. It's not every day you get to talk to somebody so influential when you're talking about a breed of dog and you know, the guy that literally wrote the book. So I'm here with Vladimir. How do you say your last name?
Beregovoy.
I will butcher that, so I will not try. Vladimir is, like I said, he is literally the guy that wrote the book on West Siberian Laikas. Alex and Darren, who both have been on here to talk about West Siberian Laikas, both highly recommend your book to anybody interested in them. And so since I was in the neighborhood, I figured I'd stop in and talk to you about them.
Okay.
So why don't you just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay. My name is Vladimir Beregovoy. I am owner and breeder of West Siberian Laikas and try to popularize the breed among hunters in the United States. Since the early time when I brought the first pair of these dogs from Russia, it was in 1990. And since then, gradually, the dog became growing in popularity
Definitely.
among squirrel hunters and raccoon hunters,
Mm-hmm.
anything which can be treated.
Yeah.
And since then, Laika became pretty well familiar to
Mhm.
Americans and popular among certain kind of hunters.
Yeah, definitely.
Tried it. Many of them became dedicated to Laika.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, we have a new man here. It is Alex Kurashov,
Yes.
who is actually in the business of opening a new page in the history of Laika.
Mm-hmm.
Because after raccoon and squirrel hunting, now the bear hunting is coming
Yeah,
in popularity with Laika.
definitely. Showing it can be
And,
done.
In our updated version of my book, we have an addendum,
Okay.
which is written by Alex.
Very cool.
So if you read that book, you'll read both me and Alex too.
Is that published
An addendum
already?
about bear specifically.
Okay. Now, is that already published or?
It is currently published, and yes, you can bring the book.
Sure. This is a nice book for everyone listening. I'm flipping through this book real quick just so I can see it. And it's a very nice book. Nice hardcover book. Nice color photos in there. Gives a lot of the history, parasites, shedding. I mean, just general information about the breeds, different game hunted with the breeds. Very nice. It's a very nice book.
Mm-hmm.
Have to get me a copy. So, let's talk about the history of these breeds, the Laika breeds, and you have West Siberian, right? Laikas,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So let's focus just on the West Siberian Laikas and let's talk about the history. Like I said, you literally wrote the book. It's sitting here in front of me, and
Mhm.
so let's hear a little bit about the history of these dogs.
Okay, the history starts very early time. Perhaps with native people, the dogs were since time when people use spears and bow and arrow.
Mhm.
And when firearms came in use, the dog became even more beneficial to
Mhm.
natives. And actually, it is going beyond maybe a couple of thousand years back
Mhm.
in Siberia. And as I uh, investigated the literature, similar dogs were in Indians.
Mhm.
Indians had very similar dogs. And some of them, particularly in American Northwest, hunted with these dogs in a similar way.
Okay.
But European settlers were not hunters specifically. They didn't pay attention
Mhm.
to those primitive dogs. They brought their own dogs, and
Yep.
Indian dogs were lost
Yeah.
gradually. So genetically, it is not very much new, but Siberian natives were in advantage against Indians because they had Chinese high culture in the south
Okay.
and Russia in the west. So they, when they obtained the valuable pelts like sable, it was almost like gold at that time.
Okay.
They traded and sold to Chinese and to Russian.
Mhm.
So Laika became particularly valuable to natives because it brought meat to the table, food for the clothing, and money by
Yeah.
trading. So this breed was improved and sharpened in process of using it by
Okay.
native people.
Mhm.
And initially, Russians were not very fond of it, just like American settlers.
Mhm.
They considered dogs of savages and primitive people. They liked European breeds, and they had own like Borzoi to hunt. Aristocracy preferred
Yeah.
duck hunting and grouse hunting or wolf hunting.
Like you said, so these quote
Yes.
unquote primitive breeds
Yes.
were looked down upon.
Yes, but in the end of 19th century, educated Russian people, educated class and nobility paid attention to remarkable dogs of natives. They noticed that they are highly efficient at hunting. So they began adopting it. And the very word Laika emerged exactly in early 20th century. Before that, they called Siberian dog of Siberian people.
Okay.
Even there was no name.
Mhm.
And under Soviet government, they decided to save the breed by establishing formal standards
Yeah.
for 4 breeds,
Okay.
among which were Russo-European Laika, black and white dog,
Yep.
which is almost identical to Karelian bear dog,
Mhm.
West Siberian Laika, East Siberian Laika, and Karela Finnish Laika.
Yeah.
Actually, Karela Finnish Laika is almost a sibling breed to Finnish Spitz.
Mhm.
But West Siberian and East Siberian are only in Russia.
Gotcha.
And in America, we have only West Siberian, simply historically, because I like this breed and I brought it here.
Okay.
If I started with other like a breed in Russia, I would probably do the same. But so my heart is with West Siberian, and we have them here.
Gotcha.
And we started importing first dogs in 90s. I brought quite a few, maybe first 5-6 dogs gradually, and other people began bringing.
Okay.
And I kept in touch with them, and we coordinated our breeding.
There you go.
And this is how breed was growing.
Mhm.
And recently, Alex Kurashov brought excellent dogs.
Yeah.
By appearance and by hunting ability. I'm sure they will go after squirrel too if needed.
I think the one he's got, he's gonna make a squirrel dog out of.
Yes, and it is actually the same technique. The dog is sniffing tracks or listening.
Mhm.
Game is found, the dog is barking on the tree. It doesn't matter to the dog, raccoon, a possum, or bear, squirrel.
Yep.
So what you hunt, the dog will work for you.
Yeah.
And it is what is amazing to me. The dog found itself in a new world, literally, because in Russia they don't hunt black bear; they hunt brown bear.
Yep.
But brown bear sometimes don't go up tree,
Yeah.
just being bait. And they don't have a possum, raccoon, wild turkey. But Laika found all this. And you can hunt wild turkey with Laika too.
Mhm.
Somehow it is embedded in their brains, so they know what you may need.
Yeah.
It will not tree a woodpecker or crow.
Mhm.
It will tree ruffed grouse or turkey, and dog knows all that.
Interesting. Didn't
They will
realize that.
start hunting what is available.
That's pretty cool. Now, when did you get your first West Siberian Laika?
My first was still in Russia.
Mhm.
I was a graduated student, began work as a biologist, and I knew about the dogs.
Okay.
So after having experience with other dogs in Russia before Laika,
Mhm.
I got a puppy and was so pleased with it. So I couldn't forget this dog.
Gotcha.
When I came here, I kept in memory my West Siberian Laika, and it was my dream someday to get them here.
Mhm.
And the opportunity offered when I bought land, house and land, and Russia became democratic country, and we were able to import
Okay.
first pair. And this is how it all started.
Gotcha.
And the first pair was Americans thought it was a Siberian Husky
Yeah.
or hybrid or mixed with a wolf.
Yep.
And I got letters, emails, which tried to put me down. What the hell you brought here? It is a mix with wolf.
Mhm.
And one man even wrote, "This is woman's dog." Men's dogs are pendulous ears like hounds, but this is damsels keep Siberian Husky because they're cute and you pushing it.
That's
So-
funny.
And only gradually a couple of squirrel hunters came from Arkansas and
Okay.
bought first puppies, believing my words.
Mhm.
And one man from Alaska who came and said, if only 50% of what you say is true, it is worth it to try.
There you go.
So, and then word of mouth and my publications in Full Cry and
Mhm.
some other periodicals.
Yeah.
One article in Field and Stream, and gradually people began appreciating the dog. And
Mhm.
here we now.
Now, how hard were they to import when you first started? Was that process pretty hard, or?
Yes, at that time it was hard. It was just 90s. Still, it was perestroika time, and they didn't allow to export purebred animals. Some people, some officials thought it was not good,
Mhm.
but we managed to bring 2 of them here,
Okay.
claiming they were mongrels. No papers.
Yeah.
So I faced a big problem how to register them. I knew they were purebred and they acted like purebred and looked like purebred,
Mhm.
but no papers.
Yeah.
And an obscure registry, they call themselves International Canines.
Okay.
It is American one. They took them, and after that UKC recognized them
Okay.
and took my dogs, registered them as is, first import.
Nice.
Then followed importation, came dogs with pedigrees,
Mhm.
up to date. So the process is continuing. We
Yeah.
need more different blood dog to keep the breed going strong.
Mhm.
So it was brief history.
Yeah. Now, over the years, how many dogs do you think you've imported?
Over the years, I think about 20.
Okay.
Yes. And it is still going on.
Mhm.
And I imported probably 6 or 7 of them from beginning.
Mhm.
And it was Nucleus, the first lines.
Yeah.
And they were good, purebred Laikas. They had 1 hit per year.
Yeah.
Aboriginal dogs, primitive dogs, they have 1 hit per year. But now quite a few have 8 months cycle.
Okay.
But 1 hit period is the best proof
Mhm.
of true Laika.
Okay.
And natives appreciated it because dog with puppies 1 per year.
Yep.
Longer available for hunting.
Yep.
Because you will not want to go with dog in heat,
Mhm.
in woods. So they were good dogs and more importations. And now we have, I don't know how many, maybe a couple of hundred, maybe more, including Canada.
Now, you just mentioned something about, the Aboriginal, a lot of primitive breeds only coming into heat once a year. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yes, but it is good if people know this.
Like,
Because-
Laikas are not exclusive in that. There's a lot. I
Yes.
don't want to say a lot, but there's a good handful of breeds that are all classified
Yes.
as primitive breeds.
So if you have a Laika with 1 heat period, you have the very best biologically.
Mhm.
But hunting ability is separate. It doesn't depend.
Mhm.
And usually it comes together, but most of them will tree.
Yeah.
And treeing ability is probably unique and the most remarkable trait, which is not available in the wolf.
Mhm. Yep.
And crossing with wolf will destroy it. They will not tree well.
Yeah.
You may go after wild boar with taking a mix
Mhm.
with wolf, but not good treeing on squirrel and other game, because to a wolf it would be stupid to stay on the tree
Stand
and
there.
barking, game wasting time and force energy.
Now, is that something that you saw when you lived in Russia?
Oh yes. In my time, actually every single Laika was treeing dog,
Mhm.
perfectly treeing. Only last probably decades, Russians became liking dog which would not tree because they go after wild boar.
Gotcha.
They think, why to waste time at barking squirrel? Go after wild boar. And so now importation should be done very carefully. Investigate what you take.
Mhm.
Just appearance and papers will tell you nothing.
Yeah.
They should be, both parents should be treating well.
Mhm.
But when I made first importations, It was actually 100% trained dogs.
Okay. Alex actually told me that you stayed and lived with the indigenous people to learn about these dogs. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, a short time. Yes, yes. Yes, I had a short, brief experience. Actually, most people were Russian hunters, but I traveled to North Urals mountains, and my friend and I, we lived with Aboriginal people, with natives, people of Mansi.
Okay.
And this is when I learned a lot more how they keep,
Mhm.
how they hunt.
How long did you live with them?
Not long, a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But it was winter time.
Yeah.
They saw how they feed them, keep them, and take them to hunt.
Now, how did things look over there? Like, what did you observe?
Okay, it was very much different from majority of us can afford. Mansi live in log cabins, which they build themselves. Family groups, usually relatives, like parents, kids, cousins.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3 log cabins in the deep, real wilderness. No roads, no groceries, no medical assistance or veterinary, nothing like that.
Jeez.
And the dog kept off leash all the time,
Mhm.
just free. If he won't go, but the dog will not go because it's death.
Yeah.
Nobody will feed. Bears, wolves will kill.
Mm.
And dogs hang around the house, usually 5, 6 dogs per family.
Okay.
But when hunting season comes, they tether them
Okay.
because the dog should be available when he wants to go to hunt.
Mm.
Otherwise, she might catch some lemmings, mice to feed herself. And remarkably, they almost don't feed their dogs, particularly in the summer.
They make them just free, just
Yeah.
take care of themselves.
They just scavenge and find something to eat and catch rodents.
Okay.
They're always skinny, very hungry. But in the fall, when hunting season, they start feeding them more or less systematically. And this time when dogs can really gorge, like they go after moose,
Okay.
they shoot moose, take the meat on their backs, no transportation. Sometimes reindeer available to pull the meat to storage place. And people and dogs are very happy. And dogs don't come home. They eat guts and whatever hunter left behind.
Okay.
And when it is finished, they come back.
Hmm.
So they compete with wolverines
Yeah.
and foxes and wolves, whatever is. So it is very free life. And they don't breed them systematically like we do with pedigrees, because no other dogs, only good Laikas.
Okay.
And which male will sire the puppies, they not always really know,
Mm-hmm.
because a few of them, but they know the mother.
Yeah.
So the selection was done mainly by the mother. If the mother is good hunting dog, they try to save puppies.
Okay.
And they never sold puppies.
Mhm.
Puppies were given gifts to relatives, to friends. And if nobody wants puppies, they just put them in the bucket, kill with water.
Yeah.
And
Brutal out there.
they
but
don't need many dogs because feeding is difficult.
Yeah.
No kibble sold anywhere.
Mhm.
So despite this not very systematic feeding,
Mhm.
the feeding was still vital,
Yeah.
particularly in winter time.
Definitely.
And even in the summer, they feed sometimes, but what we can see, they don't eat very well. They make sort of soup.
Okay.
I saw it like he kept moose, legs, tendons, which have some nutrients
Yeah.
hanging on the tree. He take these parts and put in boiled water or
Okay.
on fire.
Yep.
It's boiling. He throws a couple of handfuls of millets. It is here. It is like fancy food, but in that country it was the cheapest possible.
Yeah.
So it was like a soup puree with these things, and he gave to every dog. And in the winter time, it was better. They kept extra supply of meat for dogs, like parts which are not wanted by people, like throat or some lungs.
Yeah.
Lungs are not highly nutrient, but they gave it to dogs. So gave pretty decent food.
Yeah.
Every other day, not every day. One day
Interesting.
dogs eat well, another day he'll either waits or catches for himself.
Interesting.
I had a chance to take one of his dogs. I asked him, will she go with me in woods? I will hunt squirrels. He said, okay, just take. She will start. I took her, and the dog was very sulky, didn't look playful.
Mhm.
And I had some dry bread in my backpack. So I offered her a little piece. Oh, she grabbed and ate it readily.
I bet she
I
did.
saw she's hungry. Then I saw birds around, crossbills flock. So I shot one, gave it to dog, and she chewed like a candy with feathers and head and legs,
Ate it all.
the whole thing. And then I began finding, she barked squirrels for me. Okay, I shot squirrel, but before I took it, the dog grabbed it and vanished.
I bet she did.
She came home. I told him she didn't hunt for me. She grabbed my squirrel. He said, "Oh, I'm surprised, but probably I was nobody to the dog.
Yeah.
For him, she would hunt,
Yep.
but not for me." And everything was specific because it was a roadless country,
Hmm.
and most valuable game was moose because it was meat.
Yeah.
If they didn't eat meat, they took to the nearby town and sold to Russians.
Okay.
Uh, the skin, because they use it for bedding for
Mhm.
dogs or during hunting time in a cabin. And sable, of course,
Okay.
and bear. He had a whole collection of bear skulls he hunted.
That's pretty cool.
A few dozens.
Hmm.
And not every dog is good on bear, but a squirrel. But the dog has like a value
Mhm.
list in his brains. The most valuable, moose, bear.
Gotcha.
So if he hits tracks, no squirrels. Goes after those. But if he wants squirrels, he pokes in the tracks and then that squirrel, one after another.
That really surprises me that this breed has been known to be such a good tree dog. If the primary two focuses are
Mhm.
are brown bear and moose,
Yes, yes.
which neither game trees.
Yes.
You bay both of those.
No,
So it surprises me that they're such good tree dogs because you would think
yes.
you breed dogs for moose hunting or you breed dogs for brown bear hunting. They're
The-
not going to necessarily
okay.
make good tree dogs.
This is related to way of life of these people.
Mhm.
Very much, particularly ability not to afraid bear. Because bear was next door, a neighbor to
Mhm.
them. It was bear country.
Yeah.
But they had deer, reindeer, sometimes a cow,
Mhm.
more than one. And they needed hay. They picked berries, nuts, and children and wives went to harvest it.
Mhm.
And they took Laikas with them. And this has made life with bear possible.
Yeah, keep the bears away.
Yes,
while you're trying
because
to pick
if
stuff
the
and
bear or
work.
the dog is best warning system.
Yep.
And they, seeing the bear, Laika will not rush towards your feet. Such a dog, they would shoot it because it is a bait, and the bear would come to you and kill you too. So it takes attention on itself.
Okay.
It was always on the opposite side. Even when treeing, you see tree Laika, you're here, squirrel or other animal on the tree, Laika on the opposite side.
Okay.
If you go around, the dog does the same.
Gotcha.
Never between you and game, always on the opposite side. The same with bear.
Interesting.
Yes, and it makes life possible.
Mhm.
So they just go home or wait until bear will retreat.
Mhm.
No bloodshed. Everything is fine. Nobody is shooting.
Gotcha.
Continue picking berries or making hay.
Yeah.
But with moose, it is also interesting because no roads. They
Mhm.
don't like I asked him, did you try other dogs? He had German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Because labor camps of Stalin were protected by German Shepherds.
Yeah.
And like many things, government closed the camp and dumped the dogs. So he adopted dogs and took after moose. They go after moose, but no hunting because moose is afraid.
Yeah.
It runs like crazy. And 40 miles for moose, nothing.
Yep.
But he cannot keep up with his skis to find that moose. No baying. just chasing.
Yeah. Just driving
But Laika never comes towards moose on straight lane.
circles it.
It is always coming and make it a circle, like wolves do when they find moose. They test.
Yeah.
Laika is testing. And if moose is very aggressive, it shakes head and tries to kill the dog with hoofs or
Mhm.
antlers. And this is Laika wants. She barks and stays at a distance.
Yep.
I watched for many minutes this behavior with
Mhm.
binocular. It was very funny, very interesting. Moose keeps browsing and the dog is barking, but it is signal to the hunter.
Yep.
So your task is come up quiet and shoot, and you make decision, shoot or not. Maybe it is a pregnant female and you want to
Mhm.
spare it, or it's up to you.
Yeah.
Plenty of time, and not far from you, in hearing distance.
Yeah.
Like us, not like some other many dogs go like missiles.
Yeah.
But
Not like hounds
yes, mhm,
that go
and-
deep.
yes, and and so the dog doesn't look very aggressive. It is making squealing sounds, and I saw my own dog left moose for a few minutes peeing here without hurry, marking scent marking by peeing,
Mhm.
going here, and then again around moose. So it looks like sort of play or bluffing or whatever.
Mhm.
But it is how the hunting is going on. It is specific behavior moose hunting.
Yeah.
And with bear, barking is more aggressive, of
Yeah.
course. And the hunter, when he listens his dog, by voice and style of barking, he knows it is squirrel, maybe sable. Sable sounds very exciting.
Okay.
The same with squirrel or raccoon.
Mhm.
Laika will bark at raccoon more hysterical.
Yeah.
Or it is a moose.
Mhm.
He knows already.
Yeah.
So take the right.
I mean, just like a lot of hunters here in the
Yes.
United States, you know what your dog's doing by
Mhm.
the
Yes.
whether it's a Laika or a hound or a
Yes,
cur,
yes,
you can tell.
yes. It is. So it is very specific system, complex behavior.
Mhm.
So, and they didn't select dog for breeding. They simply supported dogs which
Yeah.
were doing well.
Yeah.
If not, they are just abandoned.
Okay.
Not feed, it is the same as kill, almost the same.
Gotcha.
Or maybe used for other purposes. And they were not particularly sentimental people. They appreciated good dogs and kept
Mhm.
them during years, so-called retirement. The
Gotcha.
dog doesn't hunt, but he saved his life. He knows this dog.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if dog is not good, or they used for pelts.
Okay.
They had moccasins made of moose and dog pelts.
Gotcha.
You will see some national ornamented garments with pieces of dog
Mhm.
skins go there too. So they did not hesitate to use dog, which is maybe less valuable for hunting.
Yep.
So it was not selection like keeping in isolation in crates and pens. No, they're
Yeah.
nomadic people. They're always on the move.
Yep.
So it was almost like natural selection, actually.
Gotcha. And like you said, so the ones that didn't hunt either were killed and utilized, for their
Yes,
fur, or
yes.
or they were just abandoned and
Yes,
and
which
often
it was selection against the worst dogs.
yeah.
But the best dog, of course, was cherished and loved and very much.
Mhm.
And it was also interesting how they were feeding. Laika is a quarrelsome dog.
Okay.
It is not like hounds. Oh, they're individualistic and they love themselves and want to please themselves. But hunting became like a part of their adaptation to survive.
Mhm.
Because if not good hunting,
They die.
yes, it is the end of it. And he has meat with him. He
Mhm.
came to the hunt, and they will feed dog by night. Tomorrow go hunting, and what he gives the best good chunk of meat to alpha dog,
Okay.
usually male.
Mhm.
He grabs and goes to eat. Then comes second pecking order,
Mhm.
and dogs which are last one get last food.
Gotcha.
Why different? Because no fights.
Mhm.
Dogs already established it. And if second, third rank dog comes to eat, he might get a good punishment from the male.
Yeah.
He will not allow. If
Mhm.
not the male, the owner himself will give it a good kick.
Okay.
Know your place.
Gotcha.
So it kept peace and harmony
Mhm.
the natural way. So it was selection like for wild animals, in
Yeah.
effect. And
Very similar.
I saw he liked his male dog very much, which was number one. He said he will go after sable and moose, which
Mhm.
is most frequent game, and
Gotcha.
bear. And even like a sportsman, when goes to hunt and dog finds bear, he wants to get game because it is his vacation, maybe
Mhm.
weekend. But for Tumansi, it is like we go to grocery,
Yeah.
everyday business.
Yep.
And I saw the case when the bear was bait by dogs, but he didn't shoot. And the question is, why didn't you shoot? The bear was here. He said, did you see grass, tall grass around? The bear could grab my dog because it was below bear, but above the dog. So it would be grabbed.
Yeah.
He didn't want to risk. I will find another one.
Interesting.
Oh, to him it was like I said, everyday life event,
Yep.
not like, oh, it is bear.
Yep.
And so it is different, and even more, dogs are so smart.
Mhm.
We sitting in the cabin, chatting with him, eat moose meat, and drink tea. They appreciate tea. It's very strong, just awful strong. And dog barking. He said, "Oh, this is moose," but he doesn't jump. He doesn't grab his rifle. He said, "They will bring it closer."
That's awesome.
Indeed, barking is louder and louder because they circling around,
Yeah.
barking this
Almo-
without a hurry. But
Almost like a herding
yes,
behavior.
yes, they move closer, and he knows, and dogs know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the time. He stops drinking tea, takes rifle, and sometimes without hat, very light dress, just boots,
Yeah.
goes and shoots a moose. But why? It makes sense because he is using his muscles and shoulders. He
Mhm.
doesn't want to go half mile,
Yeah.
and
Let
now
that
it
dog
is close.
bring it closer to the house.
Yes, yes. And to store meat, they built special structures. They call it somya
Okay.
language, which is like a miniature log cabin without windows but with door. But it
Okay.
is on big stilts.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Keep the
scaffold.
bears out.
Yes, and a ladder, which is just a big log with this kind of.
Yep.
So
Notches
it
cut.
is not like ladder we use.
Yep.
So he can get in. It is to store meat because they have bears, which can, when he's not home hunting,
Mm-hmm.
it can destroy and eat meat. And wolverine.
Yeah.
They didn't like wolverine because it was always very masterful, climb anywhere and open anything.
Yeah.
And the moose meat is stored for cold season. When frosty weather established, this
Mhm.
is time when they store meat for the family to go through the winter.
Mhm.
And the meat is good, never freezer dried.
Yeah.
Because what they do, they take water and wet snow and slap it on the meat, covering it all because it retains freshness.
Okay.
No plastic, nothing. So they put the snow, so he takes a hatchet and just crush that ice, take the meat, take home to eat. And
Very
then a little
interesting.
bit more, a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot of little things which are may seem strange or
Yeah.
unexpected, but this is way of life with no groceries,
Yeah.
nothing. And if dog is ill or injured badly, two choices: either survives or dies.
Yeah.
No veterinarian.
Mhm.
Therefore, they're very smart and very tough, very healthy dogs.
Like
And
you said,
everybody who has Laika noticed it.
a lot of natural selection there just because of the remoteness of them. So, like you said, if its dog's not tough, it's not going to survive. It's not going to
Yes, yes,
procreate. So
yes.
it's
It
not going
is.
to pass those genetics.
Yes, exactly. So they under conditions similar to conditions of wild animal,
Very similar.
and sometimes maybe more demanding because even weather is bad, the dog stays with owner
Mm-hmm.
right here. but wolf may find a more cozy place because he is free to run. These dogs here. And actually, there were very few wolves there
Okay.
because wolf doesn't like old forest growth.
Gotcha.
It's deep snow. He likes open spaces like field made by people or northern tundra
Okay.
or prairie because it provides better environment for hunting,
Gotcha.
wolf style. But
I've never lived in wolf country. I don't know
yes,
much about
and
wolves.
when Russians began deforestation,
Mhm.
wolves were advancing northward.
Gotcha.
And these same people occasionally shot wolf too.
Mhm.
But it was not hunting on purpose, but just maybe to protect his dogs or
Yeah.
like that. But bear hunting too, it came to them when Russians gave them firearms.
Mhm.
It is just like with Indians. When Russians were advancing in Siberia, they found native tribes hunting with bow and arrow.
Yep.
And of course, they Christianized them, baptized them. In this advancement of European culture was carried by Russians.
Mhm.
And bear hunting showed up because to natives, bear is a holy animal.
Okay.
They like deity.
Mhm.
And they kill bear only if it will be killing people or
Yeah.
doing something
Yeah.
bad, so they kill it. But it is like a big deal to go to shoot bear.
Mhm.
And but with the Russians, it became more systematic because they sold pelts,
Yep.
bear, and meat to Russians too. Okay,
Definitely.
but they eat bear meat themselves.
At the same point, before firearms, to go after a bear without a firearm would have been very dangerous.
Oh yes,
So
spears and
it wouldn't necessarily be worth the risk.
oh yes, yes, and even their name for firearms in their language is archaic Russian name.
What's that?
For example, you don't know Russian, but I will try to explain it. For example, a gun.
Mhm.
Russians call gun. Okay. They call ружье or винтовка, rifle.
Okay.
But, they say, no, we call it different. And he will tell you. In our language, it is pistol. Because Russian frontiersmen, hundreds years ago, who came there, gave it, and they call it pistol.
Okay.
It was pistol in Russian.
Gotcha.
It is in their language now.
Mhm.
And so their Russian is not perfectly
The same.
today's Russian because they learned it from old Russian frontiersmen.
Yeah.
It was funny. Like if you frightened and run away because you're frightened badly.
Yeah.
In Russian, it is derogatory, not good word for that.
Okay.
It is like you pooped in your pants.
Okay.
Means in their language, it is you frightened.
Gotcha.
In Russian, it is funny.
That's very interesting. Like how these dogs have developed, and over there now. Now, since you got them here, what have you hunted?
Here's squirrels.
That's what you were
Sure.
your primary.
I shoot a few raccoons, but I don't know how to sell their pelts and what the use of it. I don't
Mhm.
like to shoot animals when I don't have any use.
Yep.
I should either eat it or sell it something, but
Yeah.
not just kill.
No, it makes sense.
And so I hunted squirrel
Okay.
mainly. But my buddies, he in Virginia, one of them hunted wild turkey.
Yeah.
And he discovered it himself and told me. I was not surprised.
Mhm.
And he hunted wild turkey.
Very cool.
And one male, it was not the hunting season. I have this male now. I just took him for a walk in national forest,
Mhm.
and then I hear he's barking. And barking, not big game style.
Mhm.
Choppy, at intervals. And turkey flock flying in my direction. And they alighted on trees around me because I was quiet. And
Yeah.
if I had a rifle, I would probably bring one or two of them. But how it happened, accident, or he knew something,
Yeah.
but they came over me. It happened a number of times.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know how it happens. And I had a buddy and Great Lakes region.
Mhm.
And he hunted wild geese
Okay.
in geese hunting season.
Mhm.
And he walked towards the lake, saw these American typical goose hunters with decoys and water.
Yep.
They were laying and waiting
Mhm.
in camouflage, but he had Laika. So the dog joyfully ran ahead. And very soon he see flock group of geese flying right over his head. He shot.
There
And
you
this
go.
is how he was hunting,
Yeah.
with Laika style.
That's
But
funny.
how it happened, why, what is inside the dog head, I don't know. But he consistently did that.
Yeah.
He ran ahead, and geese fly over his head.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Especially like you said, it's multiple dogs, multiple different types
Oh
of game,
yes, yes,
and they just do it instinctively.
yes. And when they hunt natives, they always have in mind to bring something home,
Mhm.
because, as I said, no grocery, no roads,
Yeah.
nothing. So he wants meat. He wants some pelts for making clothing for himself and
Yeah.
for his family, or something to sell. Sable pelt, it is gold nugget.
Mhm.
Actually, it is very old tradition, unlike with Indians who were isolated. Natives of Siberia were in touch with Russians and Chinese.
Okay.
In both ways brought the money. When they brought
Yeah.
their hunting trophies, they got powder, they get tobacco, and tea. So it was natural product,
Yeah.
not necessarily money, because
A lot of
what he
trade.
will do with money.
Yeah.
And so it was supported need in good dogs,
Yeah.
dogs which feed and bring money.
So that trade has been very established.
Yes, it was very old.
Mhm.
In East Siberia, it was Chinese, then Russians joined them.
Mhm.
In West Siberia and East Europe, Northeast Europe, Russians were just
Yep.
next door.
Definitely.
And some Russian adventurists uh, made good money by traveling to wilderness, just
Mhm.
like Americans traveled to find gold.
Yeah.
Instead gold, it was pelts of sable.
Yep.
In at the Tsar, Ivan the Terrible,
Mhm.
if you know the history
I'm
of
not
that part, a
big
good
history.
sable pelt could bring money enough to buy 50, 60 acres of arable land,
Wow.
because it was highly appreciated by Russian czars. Good pelt of sables would trade with Shah of Iran,
Mm.
with kings of Europe,
Yeah.
and this is what Russians brought usually, pelts. And it was one of major items of export and trade. Russians brought expensive pelts
Mhm.
because there were no artificial furs, and
Yeah.
nobility of all over the world. Turkey, Iran, all neighbors of Russia, they
Yeah.
wanted it. And European kings,
Mhm.
they wanted it always. And Russian gifts included these pelts. Therefore, aristocracy paid huge money to hunters which ventured in taiga and bring these things.
That's awesome. Very cool.
And Laika was instrumental.
Yeah. Definitely.
This has helped to polish the quality of the dog.
Mm-hmm.
It was combination of heavy use for hunting
Mhm.
and minimal care.
Yeah. Now, so since you've had Laikas here, what's been the best dog you've ever had? Tell me about it.
How many dogs?
No, like what's the best dog you've ever had?
I had a very good dog which I named Naida. Excellent squirrel dog. And my very first imports, one named Alik, and the female was named Shelma.
Okay.
Shelma is like a Russian word for she-devil or daredevil.
Gotcha.
And this is what she was. Very disobedient, very wild. But at hunting, it was never got tired. And
Mm-hmm.
she treated last squirrels when she was 12 years old. She was still able.
Still had it.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Now, how many dogs do you still have?
I have my old pair because I'm myself 87 years old.
You're 87?
I'm 87.
Wow.
So I don't want to leave dogs orphans. So this white dog is 5 years old,
Okay.
but two others are 11 years very soon.
Gotcha.
And so they are not at their prime condition now.
Mm-hmm.
But the male is good on bear, this male.
Alex was telling me about him.
He is excellent. He showed me bears one summer, one after another. Not hunting season, midsummer. I walked, and if not him, I would never know because bear is not anxious to show up without big need.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed me bear being 7, 8 months old.
Wow.
He already worked. And how he worked, he barked. And I always, hunting or not, I always come to see what is.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked and suddenly I see just 50 feet from me in thickets, young forest, big male stood and looked at the dog, not at me, as usual dogs. So I was not brave enough. I quietly walked away. Another time he found a bear cub. I came up, ooh, bear cub, little one, sitting on the tree. But I know the mother is somewhere.
Yeah.
Again, I retreat. And the other time, a young bear, dog size,
Okay.
sitting on the tree. Oh, then my dogs were dancing around. And I was looking at the bear, petting them. Oh, so good. Good boy, very good. Of course, no shooting.
Yeah.
And I told my neighbor, who was avid bear hunter and with hounds.
Yep.
He took me, and I'm familiar with this. It is nice, interesting pastime. It looks like more socialization, not just hunting.
Yep.
People are chatting,
Oh, yeah.
eating snacks, and that was good time together.
Yep.
And looking in GPS, oh, my dog made 12 miles. But Laika doesn't do it. They are for pedestrian.
Yeah.
Walking hunter who doesn't have anything, he would not go 12 miles after anything. So Laika is silent on tracks.
Yep.
And when bear is close, she's bluffing, jumping and barking.
Mm-hmm.
And bear, seeing this dog, climbs tree. Okay, come up and shoot.
Yeah.
No chasing over miles.
Yeah, Alex said most of his chases are real short,
Yes,
a couple of 100 yards, but
yes, but
he walks a long way.
Oh yes, before finding.
Yep.
But when found, it's very short.
Yep.
So, because black bear, but brown bear is more difficult because it is more aggressive.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't climb tree, it doesn't stay, just runs. So the dog should nip him in the butt to make him take on defensive.
Mm-hmm.
But they hunt brown bear. They have no black bear in Europe and Russia. But for black bear, it is just right. Very nice.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have anything else you want to tell us about these Laikas?
I don't know what to say. If you have any questions specifically,
Nothing that I can think of. I really just wanted to know about the history of them.
Mm-hmm.
Alex said you were a wealth of knowledge on that and how they got here. And
yes,
I remember in the early 2000s. So I was just starting to get into, trying to get into hunting with dogs because I was a kid that grew up with my parents didn't hunt or anything. So the internet was kind of new, and I stumbled across your website. And I read a lot about the Laikas.
Yes.
When your early website. And
yes.
So.
Yes, it is something interesting and new, and like on many occasions, immigrants bring something good to America from elsewhere. Okay, I brought this Laika. So I live in this country and very happy that our family was accepted here.
Yeah.
And this is what I made my contribution.
It's a heck of a contribution because, like you said, they're well known now in the squirrel hunting world, and Alex is making a name for the Laikas in the bear hunting world.
Oh yes, he's a remarkable person. His English is perfect, very good.
It is.
He's a good writer.
He is. Yes.
You can read this addendum.
I will. I definitely will.
So I hope he will continue my work. I'm old, but I don't know how long I will stay. But I done my part. He will
You-
do his
You
part.
certainly have. But I really appreciate you letting me come and visit you tonight. And
Mhm.
I know it's a little bit late.
Oh, no problem. We don't sleep this early.
Thank you very much.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep 'em talking in the timber.